the little white church at the end of Meadowbrook. Road had stood for over 100 years, its steeple pointing toward heaven like a faithful promise. Linda Harper had attended services there since she was a girl, back when her own mother sang in the choir and her father served as a deacon. Now at 54, she sat in the third pew every Sunday with her 8-year-old granddaughter, Lily, trying to hold on to the faith that had once felt as solid as the church's foundation. It was a beautiful June Saturday when everything changed. Linda and Lily had come to help set up for the Patterson wedding, arranging flowers, placing programs on the white folding chair set up on the lawn. Linda had known the Patterson family for decades. She'd taught their daughter Emma in Sunday school years ago. The ceremony was lovely. The bride radiant, the groom nervous in that endearing way. The vows spoken with trembling sincerity under the summer sky. Linda stood at the back with Lily, both of them in their simple cotton dresses, cream-colored with delicate lace trim, the nicest things they owned. Lily held Linda's hand, watching the proceedings with wide eyes. "Grandma, will I have a wedding like this someday?" Lily whispered. "If that's what your heart desires." "Sweetheart," Linda whispered back, squeezing her small hand. The trouble started during the reception. Linda and Lily had assumed. They were welcome to stay, they always had. Been at church gatherings. But as people moved toward the table set up under the large tent, Patricia Dawson, the church's self-appointed social guardian, approached with a tight smile. "Linda, dear," Patricia said in that syrupy voice that always preceded something unpleasant, "I don't believe you were on the guest list for the reception." Linda felt heat rise to her cheeks. "Oh, I just thought we helped set up, and usually is different from a private family event," Patricia interrupted, her smile never wavering. "I'm sure you understand. And really, it might be confusing for Lily to be around all this extravagance. Given your situation," the words stung more than Linda wanted to admit. My situation meant being a widow raising her granddaughter alone after her daughter. Rachel died in a car accident 3 years ago. It meant working 2 jobs, mornings at the diner, evenings cleaning offices. It meant wearing dresses from the church's donation box and counting pennies to make sure Lily had what she needed. "We'll just go," Linda said quietly, her dignity refusing to let her voice shake. She took Lily's hand. "Come on, sweetheart." But as they turned to leave, Lily's foot caught on the uneven ground and she stumbled. Linda reached to catch her, but they both went down in the dusty road that led away from the church, Lily landing hard on her knee. The little girl cried out, more from shock than pain, and Linda gathered her into her arms, checking for injuries. That's when she heard the footsteps. A man was walking toward them from where a sleek black luxury car was parked near the church entrance. He was in his early 60s, tall and distinguished in a perfectly tailored navy suit and crisp white shirt. Everything about him spoke of wealth and refinement, from his silver-threaded dark hair to the elegant watch on his wrist. But his face held something else entirely. Concern, genuine and immediate. "Are you hurt?" he asked, kneeling beside them without any apparent concern for his expensive suit or the dust. His voice was warm, with a slight accent Linda couldn't quite place. "We're fine," Linda said quickly, helping Lily sit up. "Just a stumble." "We were leaving." The man looked at Lily's scraped knee, then back at Linda's face, and something in his expression shifted. Recognition, perhaps, or understanding. He stood and extended his hand to help Linda up, then carefully lifted Lily into his arms as naturally as if she were his own grandchild. "Let's get this young lady's knee cleaned up," he said. Then, raising his voice slightly, he called toward the reception tent. "Excuse me, could someone bring the first aid kit, please? We have an injured child here." Patricia Dawson hurried over, her face flushed. "Mr. Harrison, I'm so sorry for the disturbance." These two were just leaving. "They're not actually—" "Not actually what?" The man, Mr. Harrison, turned to face Patricia, and his voice, though still courteous, had steel beneath it. "Not actually members of this church? Not actually children of God? Not actually deserving of basic human kindness?" Patricia's mouth opened and closed. "I didn't mean, it's just that they weren't invited to the reception, and we have limited seating." "Then make room," Mr. Harrison said simply, "or I'll be happy to host an alternative. Reception elsewhere for anyone who believes that social status matters more than Christian charity." He looked around at the gathering crowd, many of them watching with expressions ranging from embarrassment to approval. I believe Jesus had something to say about the least of these, didn't he? Linda felt tears prick her eyes. Sir, you don't have to do this. We're fine, really. Mr. Harrison looked at her then, and his eyes were kind. I'm Michael Harrison, and I absolutely do have to do this. Because 30 years ago, I was the one in the dusty road, and someone showed me kindness that changed my life. He set Lily down gently on a nearby bench and called for water and bandages. Besides, I came to this wedding specifically to find your church community. I've been looking for the right place to make a significant donation, and I need to know I'm giving to people who actually live their faith. As he carefully cleaned Lily's scraped knee, talking softly to distract her from any discomfort, Michael Harrison told his story. He'd come to America from Greece with nothing but determination and his father's watch. He'd worked in restaurants, saved every penny, eventually built a successful chain of Mediterranean restaurants across the country. But the real turning point had come when he was young and struggling, and a church community in Chicago had taken him in, fed him, helped him learn English, treated him like family. That pastor, Reverend Thompson, told me something I've never forgotten, Michael said, securing the bandage on Lily's knee. The measure of a community is how it treats those with nothing to offer in return. I've been looking for a community like his ever since his church closed 10 years ago, somewhere to honor his memory with a donation. He stood and looked directly at Patricia Dawson and the others who had gathered. Tell me, is this that kind of community? Or is this the kind where a widow and her grandchild are turned away from a church celebration because they don't meet some unspoken social standard? The silence that followed was heavy with shame. Then Pastor Matthews, who had performed the wedding ceremony, stepped forward. His face was red, but his voice was firm. Mr. Harrison is absolutely right. Linda Harper has been a faithful member of this church for decades. Her daughter Rachel sang in our choir. Linda volunteers in our food pantry, helps with our children's programs, and lives her faith every single day. He looked at Patricia. The fact that she and Lily were not welcome to this reception is a failing of our community, not of them. The bride's mother, Mrs. Patterson, pushed through the crowd, her face stricken. Linda, I am so sorry. Of course, you and Lily are welcome. You've always been welcome. I assumed, she shot a look at Patricia. I assumed everyone understood that. What happened next seemed to unfold in slow motion. Michael Harrison took Linda's hand and Lily's hand and walked them into the reception tent. He seated them at a table, brought them plates of food, and sat down with them as if they were honored guests. But more than that, he talked with them. He asked Lily about school, about her favorite books, about her dreams. He asked Linda about her life, really listened to her answers, treated her perspective as valuable. Within minutes, others began joining their table, first the bride and groom, then the pastor, then families Linda had known for years but who had somehow drifted into separate social spheres. As the afternoon wore on, Michael Harrison made an announcement. He was donating $200,000 to the church, but with specific conditions. Half would go to renovating the building and supporting programs. The other half would establish the Rachel Harper Memorial Fund, providing assistance to single parents and grandparents raising children alone. Linda couldn't speak through her tears. Michael squeezed her shoulder gently. Your daughter's name will help others. That's a legacy worth remembering. But the greater transformation was subtler and perhaps more profound. Patricia Dawson, thoroughly chastened, approached Linda later with tears in her own eyes. I've been so caught up in appearances, in maintaining some imagined standard, I forgot what we're actually here for. She took a shaky breath. I'm sorry, Linda, truly sorry. Will you forgive me? Linda, who had spent years practicing the forgiveness she preached to Lily, nodded. We all lose our way sometimes, Patricia. What matters is finding it again. As the reception wound down and the summer evening painted everything in golden light, Michael Harrison walked Linda and Lily to his car. Let me drive you home, he said. It's the least I can do. In the car, with Lily drowsing against Linda's shoulder, Michael spoke quietly. You remind me of the people who helped me. Not because you have money or status, but because you show up. You do the work. You live with integrity even when it's hard. He glanced at her in the rear view mirror. That's the real wealth, you know. Not what you have, but who you are when no one important is watching. Everyone's important, Linda said softly. That's what I try to teach Lily. Everyone matters, regardless of what they can offer you. Reverend Thompson would have liked you, Michael said. He used to say that poverty wasn't about money, it was about spirit. That the poorest people were those who couldn't see value in others. When they reached Linda's small apartment, Michael helped carry a sleeping Lily inside. As Linda tucked her granddaughter into bed, she found Michael looking at the photographs on the wall, Linda and Rachel. Lily at various ages, Linda's late husband in his uniform. You've built a beautiful life, Michael said. Not in spite of hardship, but somehow because of it. You've turned loss into love. Linda wiped her eyes. Some days are easier than others, but Lily needs to see that we don't give up, that we find reasons to be grateful even when life is hard. Before he left, Michael pressed a business card into her hand. The fund won't just be money sitting in an account. I'd like you to help administer it. You know what people need because you've been there. Your insight is valuable. He smiled. Besides, I have a feeling Reverend Thompson sent me here to find you, to be reminded that faith isn't about beautiful buildings or impressive programs. It's about people like you, showing up, doing the work, treating everyone with dignity. Over the following months, Linda and Michael became close friends. He visited often, always welcomed by Lily with delighted hugs. He helped with the memorial fund, but more than that, he became part of their small family, attending Lily's school plays, sharing Sunday dinners, bringing stories of his travels and his own grandchildren. The church community transformed too. The incident at the wedding had sparked necessary conversations about inclusion, about truly living their stated values. Patricia Dawson, humbled by her own behavior, became one of the fund's strongest advocates, working tirelessly to help families in need. One Sunday, as they sat together in their usual third-row pew, Lily whispered to Linda, "Grandma, remember when we fell down that day?" "I remember, sweetheart. I'm glad it happened, because that's when Mr. Michael found us, and now everything is better." Linda looked at her granddaughter's earnest face, then over at Michael Harrison sitting beside them, this wealthy man who'd driven across 3 states to attend Lily's baptism, and she understood something profound. Sometimes we have to fall down in the dust before we can be truly seen. Sometimes our moments of greatest vulnerability become doorways to grace. "You're right, Lily," she whispered back. Sometimes the best blessings come from our worst moments. We just have to keep our hearts open to receive them. As the service began and voices rose in the old familiar hymns, Linda felt gratitude wash over her. Not for the money or the programs or even the recognition, but for the reminder that she'd needed that day in the dust. That human worth had nothing to do with bank accounts or social standing, and everything to do with how we treat each other when it costs us something, when there's nothing to gain, when love is the only currency that matters. And sometimes, when we're brave enough to be vulnerable, when we're humble enough to fall and gentle enough to help others up, we discover that we're all just walking each other home, past the church, down the dusty road, toward a love that sees beyond appearances to the sacred truth beneath, that every single person carries immeasurable worth, and the greatest privilege in life is recognizing that light in one another.